Welcome again to the Actor's Vow. This is Denise Porratrepat, and I'm so excited for you guys to hear this week's episode. But before we get to that, I want to introduce the Sunday spotlight of this week. Her name is Linda DeFuria, and she's basically a boss lady. She is a singer, songwriter, actress, director, producer, teacher, and she does everything wonderfully. You guys should hear her voice. She also has been the female swing of Kinky Boots, the national tour. And in her interview, she will be talking about how she's been dealing with doing all these things and, her freelance life in New York City and her advice for moving to Las Vegas to New York City as she did, but also any actor who wants to do a big move to a city like LA or New York City to pursue their dreams. If you want to find her before the interview on Sunday, she has an Instagram and her handle is @LindaMonster. That's LYNDAMONSTERR. This week's really special guest is Dylan Libby. And he basically was Groot in the Marvel Universe Live Age of Heroes World Tour. He's an amazing person and a very talented actor. He's a New York-based actor from Long Island, New York. And he was born and raised there and started doing martial arts when he was little and sports. And then he started theater, like he will explain during the interview. And he went to college to study theater and acting. And that's actually where we met, at Adelphi University. He was 2 years ahead of me, 2 or 3, I don't remember. But he was always amazing when we were there. From there, he went to produce and star in his own play when he graduated. And then immediately, he got cast for Marvel Universe Live Age of Heroes as Groot. And he did such an amazing job. He's going to be talking about tour life and the audition process and everything that entailed being in a stunt show like that with so much action and so many things happening every single day. So basically, he has the most amazing stories. I don't think he needs further introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Dylan Libby to the Actor's Vow. Welcome to the Actor's Vow, Dylan. I'm so excited to have you here. Haven't seen you in so long.
I know, it's been a very long time, almost a year or 2 years at this point.
2 years. It was 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. Okay, so the first question I want to ask you is the one I ask everybody, and that's what made you want to be an actor?
Okay, so I kind of knew of the world of acting and was kind of interested in it as a kid, but not really something I was looking to pursue.
Okay.
And through high school and middle school, when I transferred into my main school district, I had done a lot of sports. I had been in martial arts. So acting was really not on my radar. And then eventually I was talking with my father and he was like, you should give it a try. So I remember one year, it was my sophomore year of high school. I was walking downstairs from leaving after school study hall. And I saw a bunch of friends of mine sitting outside the music room. And I had no idea what was going on. And I was talking to some of them. And one of my friends, her name is Paige Smallwood. She is now one of the swings on the Hamilton tour, which
cool.
is amazing. Yeah, she's fantastic. She actually grabbed the paper, wrote my name on it, and then threw it in the box and told me to go home, and pushed me away. And I was like, okay, not knowing what I was getting into. And then the first show we did was Les Miserables, and that was the biggest show to start with. And after that, I just found a love, I found a community, and then I kept going for production after production until it led me to college, where we eventually met. So
that's so cool. I didn't know that you did musicals.
Yeah, I did. Before acting, it was all musicals. So that was my first intro. Interesting thing is most community groups don't really do plays too much, at least here on Long Island. So that's what I noticed.
Okay, that's really cool. Thank you for sharing. Okay,
no, of course.
I want to get right into Marvel because you are Groot, and that's so cool. And so for the people who are listening to this and they don't know what Marvel Universe Live is, could you explain?
So Marvel Universe Live is a traveling stunt show. It travels all around for 3 years for each of its runs. So the first show was Marvel 1. This is Marvel 2. And our show was Age of Heroes. So they added the Guardians of the Galaxy, some of their villains into the show. And basically, it performs at like the Staples Center, the Nassau Coliseum, the Barclays Center, every big stadium or arena of each city. And we perform to anywhere from 10,000 plus. And it's amazing. There's motorcycles, there's pyro, there's huge creatures like me on 3-foot stilts. Hulk's also huge. He weighs about 100 pounds. There's so much going on. All your favorite heroes and villains are in this one show. And that's how I spent the last 3 years of my life. So it's been an amazing ride.
Wow, it's so cool. I remember when I saw it, I loved it. Yeah,
No,
so I've heard from Ray, which is our stage combat teacher at Adelphi University,
Ray.
that, yeah, we love you, Ray, that the first time you auditioned, you actually didn't get it, and that you worked for the second time. So I'd love to
Hmm.
hear that story.
So I remember it was the summer of my junior year of college going into my senior year.
Ooh, okay.
And now Feld Entertainment, uh, once they open back up, as we all hope all businesses do,
Yeah.
especially in the entertainment field, they have open calls on their website, feldentertainment.com. So there's plenty of opportunities. Though at the time, I didn't know about them. So I found them on Backstage, which is like Actors Access and a great source of finding auditions. So I found the audition, and me and a friend of mine said, I think we could do this. So for the first audition, we drove out to, I think it's around the Long Island City, Astoria area, somewhere around there. It's called
Mhm.
Circus Warehouse. That's where they hold auditions. And there's 5 rounds to the audition. So there's the intro round, which is like showing your physical capabilities.
Okay.
Then the second round is a fight. The third round is part 2 of the fight. And then depending on how much time they have rounds 4 and 5, which are showing off a special skill you have or doing a huge group fight at the end.
Wow.
So the first time I auditioned, we only made it to the second round. So we
Okay.
got to do our fight, and it was really great. I had a ton of fun. It was about an hour, hour and a half. It felt like a huge fight workshop. So I'd recommend anyone, even if you don't feel like this is your thing, it's definitely something to give a try. So we did our first audition, and I only made it to the second round. We got cut.
Mhm.
And as our chairman of our department said, after every audition, you should treat yourself to something good. So we would always go to this one ramen spot and we'd enjoy ourselves. So
Mhm.
then months later, if that audition was in July, I started training really hard. Um, Working out on bodybuilding, working out on my brother had a friend who did gymnastics. We worked out a deal and I trained with him. I started doing yoga at Adelphi. I
Mm.
just put my physical priorities for the show at the top. And the second audition came around March of the spring of that senior year, made it to the third round, got cut. So I still didn't do
Oh.
the yeah. So I still didn't do the special skills round or the group fight.
Hmm.
So then after graduation, months later, it was in November before 2016 rang into 2017. And I did that audition. And then right before, like 3 days before New Year's Eve, I got the call and I booked it. So it was cool. I finally, after each time, it was like each of the training I did, each of the steps I put in got me an extra round, an extra round. And then on the third time, I made it all the way to the end.
That's
So
crazy.
yeah, it was really special. So it felt amazing.
That's such a good story about like not giving up. I feel like as actors, we get rejected once and we take it personally. We're like, okay, we're not made for this. I'm not gonna try again. But That's an amazing story. So you said you did martial arts before.
Hmm.
Okay, so what is the thing you think that you were lacking the first like time or second time that you worked on the specifics?
Well, in terms of martial arts, I already had my skills for the years. I definitely put acting first for a long time. So I needed to get all those old bones working again. Um, and we were doing stage combat with Ray, which was very important. One of the main fight directors of the show is part of the SAFD community. So
Mm-hmm.
he really appreciates that. Um, I worked on all my old katas. I worked on all my kicks and my punches. The show, this show is very, very adamant about every hit looking clean, every hit reading and selling, and also keeping your partner safe. So continuing to work with Ray, continuing to train on the side, all those things kind of added up. And also with auditions, what you were saying before, uh, if you don't give up and you keep pushing, you get more comfortable when you go back the next time.
Mm-hmm.
And also, luckily, at the Marvel auditions, they're very welcoming. The environment's very personal and it's very warm. And there's so much going on, and everyone's in it together. Sometimes auditions are you sit in a room, you walk in, you walk out, and then you're
Yeah,
gone. Whereas
yeah.
this audition is you're in it, you're active. So you're all together and you work together to kind of create this product. So as each time I went in, I just kept continuing the skills from that, taking it forward. I would take the fights that we did at the audition and I'd practice them with my friend,
Mm-hmm.
and I just kept that moving forward. So definitely, for this type of job, or if people are looking for action stars or SAFD, working on the physical part and our health is definitely, I'd say, very, very important because they notice that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's so true. So did you audition specifically for Groot, or is it a general audition for the show?
It's kind of funny because it is a general audition,
Mm.
though when I finally got to the group fight, they said, you're going to be Star-Lord and you're going to be Rocket Raccoon. And then he points to me and he goes, you're going to be Groot during this scene.
Uh-huh.
So I was just like, okay, I am Groot. And I was like, I did it. I acted it out. I even was taking a lot of actor training, and there wasn't a lot of fighting that he gave me. I kind of just like I throw these guys off a block, and then
Mm-hmm.
I stand up proud, and I so I just took that as I'm gonna create Groot, and I'm gonna create the character and find my beats and look at what my teammates are doing and what the enemies are doing, and I'm gonna create a full story in this short audition. And a friend once told me that who has been studying very hard since graduating. Um, it's your audition.
Mm.
It's your space. Find your space. Breathe in your space. Really take your time in your space. And for me, like even moments that weren't about me, I found little things to create, like Groot flowers and looking around distracted. Finding his character. And I think that was the tenacity in the moment with the character and the tenacity from growing from each audition is, I think, what ended up getting me the gig.
Mm. I love that, making it yourself. And that's probably what it made it for you, that you made it specific and you found the important things about Groot, not just
Mhm.
playing it like everybody would, of course.
Mhm.
So you had to walk on stilts. Did they give you that in the audition? Did you have to train for that after?
Yeah, so for the audition, they said Groot would be on stilts and then I need to walk on them.
Uh-huh.
They wanted me to film an audition, and I have walked on smaller type stilts before, but nowhere near what I ended up getting when I got to the show. So most people don't have stilts on hand. So I had 2 days to build and film myself on stilts. So I got two friends together and I built a pair of stilts out of 2x4s, and I filmed myself doing an audition on them. And that's going back to the tenacity. I think casting directors really respect people who are going to push the limits to show that they want to be there. And I've made it my goal from the first audition to be with this show. And yeah, building those stilts I think was a big blessing, because they got me to having the big boy stilts, you know.
No, that costume was crazy. When I saw you there, I was like, oh my God, I don't know how you did it. It's
Hmm.
really cool. And the movements, I mean, you were moving, running, so cool. So
Thank you so much.
would you say that was the most challenging part of the show, or what was it?
The most challenging part is, I'd say, keeping your body safe,
Hmm.
because there are many opportunities for performers to get injured in a show like this. Not because we don't play it safe, not because we're not careful, but you know, um, I could run it on stage on stilts and run up the stairs, run down the stairs, jump, kick, spin, 360, and then I could be walking in my normal clothes and I could roll my ankle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's never a sort of a set pattern on what we can tell her is going to happen to us in show and out of show. So the biggest challenge for me was honestly like maintaining fitness, maintaining health, maintaining the body. And it wasn't just me, it was the whole cast,
Hmm.
and some of the tracks are even like me. I had nice shoes and stilts on, which secure my feet, but some
Right.
people have small little flats that it was easy to roll their ankles, and they had to do tricks and flips. And I've definitely had my fair share of falls in the stilts.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
luckily, always got back up with the Guardians' help, though. Luckily, never injured that way. Though that was definitely something, keeping that, you when you're on a tour,
Hmm.
no matter what the tour is, you're traveling each week, so months on end. So you open on a Thursday, you leave on a Sunday, you bus on a Sunday, you fly on a Monday, then you have a day or two off, maybe sightsee that you want, and then go straight to the next show on a Thursday, leave on a Sunday.
Hmm.
And it cycles and it cycles, and you're trying to train and you're trying to keep uh, uh, you want to have your own outside workouts and fitness, but then you got to stay safe for the show because you need to keep show integrity. So that definitely, I'd say, for a lot of the cast was some of the biggest challenges, and for me too,
Yeah, yeah. I wanted to ask you about that, the tour life. I mean, even if you're not doing the Marvel show, there's so many shows touring. So how
Hmm.
was that for you? Like, what is what you liked, what you didn't like? Some
touring is de-
advice?
Touring is definitely fun. It's something that if someone can get an experience for who's in the business, they should do it, whether that be a cruise or the Marvel tour, or they have the Disney on Ice shows or the Disney Live. Um, there's a Paw Patrol show. There's Sesame Street Live. There's tons of shows out there. The
Hmm.
Cirque du Soleil, unfortunately, I know they filed for bankruptcy right now, but
Yeah.
hopefully prayers that they also start back up just like anyone. But
Hmm.
tours definitely, it's an interesting life, and there's so much to do, so much to see. um I'd say one struggle is, if you're a super creative person,
Hmm.
trying to keep the consistency in your creativity between the distractions of shows and the world, because you want to go see the Eiffel Tower, you want to go see this great spot, and you want to go do these great things, and then you have your creative side. So I definitely recommend, if people are on tour, if they have some creative aspects to them, to go into tour knowing that, to put extra time into that, to keep that creativity in, whether that's working on your monologue still, whether that's bringing a camera and working on your photography, or your editing or your writing. I definitely feel um, that was a tough thing to kind of keep up on tour.
Hmm.
So that's some advice I have. If you have a creative part to yourself, to not forget to bring that along with you in your suitcase too, you
Hmm.
know?
Yeah, I love that. I was actually talking about it in the podcast the other day. That can happen even when you get cast in a film, and then it's 100% that film, but you forget about training. There's a story of Charlize Theron in her first film, and she was doing it, and then she would go in the lunch breaks to class and to train with her coach when she didn't have to. She already had that film. So it's so important to just keep doing also your creative side and your
Mm.
monologues. Yeah, you're so right.
That's a lot of
So
dedication.
yeah, a lot. Yeah, a lot of time. Did you train for a long time before you went on stage? Did you rehearse? How were the rehearsals?
Yeah, they have us at the Feld Studios down in Florida,
Uh-huh.
Palmetto, and we would have closed off rehearsals. No one was really allowed on, but they had nice studio space, and we went every. So there's leg one of tour, leg two of tour, international tour. I can't speak for every touring company, though that's how we did it. So the first year we traveled to some of the bigger cities of the US. Then the second tour we traveled to some of the smaller cities or other ones that are big too, but maybe we missed along the way. um, and then international. But each time we'd start the new year, we'd have boot camp. So they
Mm.
would always send us back to Florida to train again because you need a month or two to bring all the crates in, to refurbish the set, to refurbish the costumes and get them ready to travel. Or when it was a new show, when we were starting, they were still building everything. So Build was really a great place to be in because it was 2 months of watching the show go from a little diorama with a couple of paper drawings and action figures
Mhm.
to seeing each piece be built, to see the lights hung up, to see everything kind of come together. There was nothing like the excitement of getting your costume and everybody going, "Oh my God, your Iron Man costume is cool," or "Oh my God, Groot's so big," or
Yeah.
finding all that. That was a pretty amazing part of the build, and we definitely all trained a lot. We started off with group trainings. Eventually, after about the 2 months, and we got on the road, we all go to our individual trainings, but they
Mhm.
definitely kept us as a unit for the first 2 months to really condition. Because one of the biggest things as a martial artist
Mhm.
is knowing your fundamentals and always working your fundamentals. And that applies to stunts, that applies to acting, that applies to regular fitness. The fundamentals are things most people would gloss over. Like they don't want to do the push ups or the sit ups or the pull ups. But those three simple things are the building blocks to the advancement. And
Mhm.
it's the same thing with the stilts or any other training. Bruce Lee said, "I fear the man who practiced kick 1,000 times than the man who knows 1,000 kicks,"
Mm.
because that one leg that can do 1,000 kicks is a lot stronger than the other side. So
Yeah.
definitely another advice I have is really the fundamentals in any sort of thing is definitely something to never forget to work on.
Mm. I love that you said that. I mean, I think that actors overlook that so much. Like a dancer, for example, like ballet dancer, they always do their routine every single day and it's the same. And musicians always do the same. But us as actors, like I feel once we've done voice work at the beginning, we forget about it. Like we forget about doing the warm-ups every day. We forget. So
It's so
yeah.
easy. It's so easy to just
Hmm.
push it to the side because not even purposely, subconsciously. Um,
Yeah.
so definitely to all of us here in this world that want to keep it alive, just going back to all those roots is very important.
Yeah. So did you have warm-ups or like a pre-show ritual every day?
Um, some more than others, I'd say. Versus me, my ritual was kind of getting grounded and focused in my own way.
Okay.
Um, kind of finding some solitude to myself for a bit, sometimes training, sometimes stretching, sometimes preparing the costume.
Hmm.
Uh, you know, Groot, some people think he takes a long time to get into. Actually, once I got used to it, it was pretty quick. The only thing is sometimes I'd forget my head in the room getting repaired, or I'd forget my hands in the room, or
Hmm.
I didn't take off these pins, or I didn't write this stuff in the book, or my pads were being washed. So definitely, I'd say that my personal biggest pre-show ritual was trying to make sure I had everything ready, so that I wasn't last minute trying to get things together. Um,
So you didn't have assistants putting that costume on?
No, oh no, you have to have
Oh,
assistance.
okay, yeah, that's what I figured.
No one can get into the costumes by themselves. There's too many snaps and clips and hooks, and some people have pyro on there, like the Iron Man
Mm,
boots have pyro. Uh, a lot of the when you're in, I could put on my stilts by myself, but when I put on the costume, I have to lean over Groot to get
yeah.
the stilts on. So it's pretty tricky, and you need definitely having wardrobe people helps. I
Mm,
mean, they were all amazing. They were all so quick on the fly. They were always so understanding and ready to jump at a moment's notice to come together to fix something in an instant. Uh, that's where the crew, the Marvel crew, definitely. People see the costumes, they see the characters, they see the show, but the crew was
mm,
such a big skeleton to what we were, and we couldn't have done it without them. They were all amazing. All of them are wonderful people. We all were all very good to each other, and definitely having them there made each show pretty fun, you know.
yeah. Okay, so I need to know when Groot falls, what happens?
When Groot falls, he prays. He prays that the Guardians will lift him up,
Uh-huh.
be his savior. I have some funny fall videos and funny fall stories.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You couldn't stand up on your own, right?
One time I did.
Okay.
The thing is, in stilts, you can stand up on your own. Having some sort of higher platform to hold on to helps you get up. Though in the costume, I'm holding sticks, which are the
Mm,
hands. So I have sticks, and then there's little snaps by my wrists to slink out my hands if need be. But other than that, you have this huge costume that you have to take care of. So one of the shows I fell, and my stilt captain was right near me, and he said, uh, I'll help you up. I said, no, get out of here. I got this. Something came over me,
uh-huh.
and I just mustered up the purest willpower I ever could have. And I got myself up arm by arm. The hands got a little dinked after that. And just like I said, the costume ladies are always wonderful, always helping me in my little branches that would break. But
Mhm,
yeah, that was one time I got up on my own. Most other times, though, the Guardians would have to come help me up. They would have stilt fall training. So sometimes Hulk would fall too. It was very rare, but the Chitauri, the aliens of the Marvel universe, they'd always
mhm.
be prepared. So if
Uh,
Hulk started to have a little issue getting out of the prison, the Chitauris would jump on and be ready to pretend to punch them while supporting. So the cast is always on point, always ready for any sort of surprise or mishap or misstep or new person that jumped into a role. So that's as a unit we worked together. It was a
mhm,
very ensemble show.
mhm,
Whether you were one of the heroes or one of the aliens, very ensemble unit
mhm.
as we worked together.
Mm, that's really cool. Yeah. I know when I saw you, you didn't fall. And I bet it didn't happen all the time, but I can't imagine. Oh my God. Must have been
There's
a lot.
people coming to see me waiting for it, just like, is he going to do it?
Yeah.
No, it was very rare. Out of like 800 shows, maybe about 10 times,
Oh wow. That's
maybe
impressive.
less.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. Wow.
yeah.
That's awesome. So
You
you
also have to be
were,
careful sometimes. Sorry, continue.
oh no, no, go for it. What do you have to be
I was
careful?
just saying, most of the arenas are under above hockey rinks, so a lot
Ah.
of times we'd perform above ice, so
Mm,
condensation would come from the floor, and then especially on stilts, it would be so slippery.
wow.
Um, so that was like a lot of the times why it happened. You'd even see cast members; they would always be ready. You'd have cast members go, "It's slippery out there, Groot. We're gonna be watching you extra carefully." So that's where
Oh,
definitely, like as I said before, we
uh-huh.
always kept an eye out for each other.
That's really cool. Yeah, it looked like a very ensemble show. It was really cool to see you all work together. Yeah.
Hmm.
So you were in a European tour when the
Yeah,
world pandemic hit. So how did that
yeah.
go?
To be honest, we didn't feel the effects of that. It was
Okay.
interesting because by the time January rolled around, news was coming out, though we were still kind of unaware of the way the world was going. We couldn't have predicted the tour would end.
Mhm.
Um, we started in September of 2019. We went to Nottingham, England. The
Mhm.
UK is our first stop. We went to Sheffield. We went to Dublin. We went to Belfast. We went to Scotland, which was one of my favorites. We went to many great places. I met family down there, which was great. I have some relatives out in Ireland and the lower UK.
Mhm.
So England was just an amazing time. I loved every second of it. The shows were great. Um, Even in one of the arenas in Dublin were really small. So at one point we had to add projectors to the side so that people
Ah.
could see, and you'd see each night the projectors got better and better and better,
Mhm.
so there's just so many interesting things to see that we did. The performing at the O2 was amazing. It's a
Oh
beautiful
yeah.
place. There's a huge shopping area inside. It's amazing. There's lots to go on. And after the UK tour, which we finished in December, we came home for our normal like break before getting visas to go to South Africa.
Mhm.
And then we spent a month in South Africa, and that was the last city that we had.
Oh. So the show got
So
canceled.
yeah,
Okay. Is there, are they planning on bringing it back at some point? Do you know?
I hope so.
You hope so.
I, yeah, I feel like they will. There's no reason not to.
Okay.
I don't know if it'll be with the same people and
Mm.
the same everything, though. Um, the entertainment business is kind of strong. I don't think it's gonna forever stay down. It's
Yeah.
just right now, if we want to recover and stay safe, we have to make a lot of sacrifices. That's concerts, that's all venues, that's Broadway,
Yeah.
that's now opening up some areas like limited film sets,
Yep.
practicing social distancing and mask wearing, and
Yeah.
um, unfortunately tour life specifically is encompasses a lot of different people, and we perform at big arenas,
Yeah.
so we encompass that Broadway realm of live performance. So it's going to take some time, but
Mhm.
I'm hopeful that we'll recover from the Marvel show, and that every other show will recover, and we'll get there soon.
Yeah. Sadly, it will take a while, but hopefully.
Hmm.
So even if you don't get to Groot again, or if you do you have any plans for now or something for the future after Marvel?
Yeah, I mean, this wonderful mic, I think you have the same one, right? You have a Shure.
Suda track?
Oh, cool.
It's not the same one, yeah. But
Yeah,
thank
so
you
I
for
have a Shure SM7B microphone.
okay.
I felt I needed this investment for a while now,
Hmm.
and luckily, like um, as quarantine was starting, I started to prepare my room studio. You can't really see it much right now because it's on the other side of this, but
Uh,
just doing recording, trying to get voiceover gigs
hmm.
and work on my voice, whether singing or speaking.
Hmm.
Keeping that up, seeing what comes next. This is definitely a tough time. I know people from all different walks of life and different positions in the business, and each one of them has felt the effects. It's not something that has spared anyone really.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah,
there
for
were people on the Marvel side in the crew, um, and there are the people who we don't know that run the ticket booths or
sure.
who run the security and the parking. We're all part of the business together, so it's definitely going to take some time. So during this time, I'm just trying to build my skills, and I'm
Hmm.
sure most of us are. And if some people are taking some time off to really let their feelings sink in, what they feel right now, that's great too.
Yeah,
I think the mental health of everybody right now is important,
yeah.
and finding the small moments to keep us happy and occupied, and until we can really hit this again. I listened to your last podcast, and um, Jamie Anna had a lot of good things to say, and things, little tools to help
Yeah.
us. Like she said reading or working on our monologues or working on different practices or researching different programs one day. Just kind of all of us kind of trying to recenter, refocus, refind ourselves, and that's what I'm trying to do right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So you graduated 4 years ago?
4 years
4
ago.
years ago, wow.
Where has the time gone?
I know. I feel like I just graduated too, and 2 years have passed crazy. But you haven't graduated that long ago. So, what is
Mhm.
your advice for people who are right now in college, like about to get out? Is there something you would have done different?
Uh, it's an interesting question because I usually try to think about, yeah, what would I do different or what wouldn't
Hmm.
I do? I think I did a lot of the right steps. Um, I participated in as many things as I could. I made connections. I did a lot of auditioning in the city more than some of my other peers.
Hmm.
But our department specifically, if you want to audition, you have to inform our chairman.
Hmm.
So I always stress to the underclassmen when I would, if Nick had me come talk or if other things, to talk to him, because our department was specifically really big on, you can go do these things,
Hmm.
but you have to communicate it. You can't just do these things and run out and disappear.
Yeah.
So I definitely communicated a lot with Nick, and I did a lot of auditioning. I booked a couple shows. I booked a couple small things. And that really gave me the confidence to be ready for Marvel. So I'd
Hmm.
recommend to people that are in college to take your off time between monologues, between plays, between self filming, to look up auditions, to look up agencies, to start finding this stuff and to ask questions and to um, encourage your peers to come along with you, to
Hmm.
help each other. A lot of this business is finding our group of people that can keep the fire going.
Yeah.
A lot of times it can get easy to get swept up in, as you said earlier in the talk, in the rejection. It's easy to, oh, I got rejected. What is the point? But the point is if especially if you're in a department, you got a whole class of people, you got a whole department of people. um I think an actor's biggest tool is support.
Yeah.
And the more you can support others, the more they support you, and hopefully everyone practices that kindness, because to me it's what's kept me going,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. I feel like that's hard though. Like there's such a big thing in the acting industry, right? Of competition. And it's all the
Mhm.
contrary, we're all in this together. And when another actor gets something, you should be happy for them because that's an opportunity.
Yeah.
And it was them because they were the right person and it's nothing personal to you.
Oh no, of course. I mean, not many people know, but I wasn't the first choice for Groot.
Mm.
There was someone else on the production. I met him, great guy, really wonderful guy.
Uh-huh.
He was part of the first year, and they wanted him to be Groot. And due to him deciding to take care of his family and other things going on, he opted out, and I was
Mm.
the second choice. And there are
Oh,
so many times in the media, you'll see a video that goes, here's a list of 10 actors that were supposed to be in these movies.
yeah.
And they'll be like, Leonardo DiCaprio wasn't supposed to be Jack in Titanic, or Keanu Reeves wasn't supposed to be Neo. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm giving an example, probably. I can't quote me on that, but there are so many times an actor, you see them in a role and you say, I could have never seen anyone else do that role, but the directors had someone else in mind.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's nothing about you or me or any of the actors that they're auditioning. Sometimes it comes down to the specific image they want, which is why giving up on auditioning is canceling out that chance that maybe you will become what they want.
Mm.
Maybe you can become something that you might not even know that you want,
Hmm.
you know. And there's always a chance.
Or they might
There's
not even know. Sometimes you can change their mind, a lot of times.
I auditioned for Hamilton
Oh.
senior year, and my audition, I personally didn't feel like it went the best,
Hmm.
because they made a lot of changes to how they were running it that day. And then they called me back while I was on tour. to come
Wow.
audition. And I drove down from Albany in the middle of performing to audition.
Uh-huh.
And like someone, another Broadway person I met a long time ago in high school, a friend of our high school director, he said the same thing. He auditioned for Lion King, gave
Mhm.
up on acting for 10 years, you know, got an accounting job, didn't even touch acting, didn't even
Mhm.
touch theater. And then years later, he auditioned again and they were like, "Oh, we remember you. We've been waiting for
Mhm.
you to come back." You never know
Yeah.
what something's going to give you by giving yourself that opportunity as a start.
Mhm. Yeah. And sometimes it's all in your head. And if you start telling yourself that was horrible, they can see it and maybe they thought it was great. So like stop thinking that to yourself, right? Yeah. So
Mhm.
I gotta ask, now
Yeah.
that you said that, how was the Hamilton audition?
It was good. The second one went a lot better.
Uh-huh.
Um just had me sing 2 songs. It was fun. And then I auditioned for
What
them
did you sing?
again. Um Dear Theodosia and
Mhm.
Washington on Your Side. So
Nice.
that was definitely fun. It's like a show. I was in college and I thought, "No way. You know, look at all these people online
Yeah.
outside in the rain. You know, what am I?" And then you get a call back. It's like those are the small little pocket moments that I feel like we yearn for, that just keep us, I said earlier, that keeps the flame going. We
Yes.
just have to find those little moments that give us that flame.
Yeah.
And it's definitely out there. I feel like it's out there for a lot of us, you know.
Mhm. All right. Well, thank you so much for everything you shared. I loved hearing from Marvel and all your advice from acting. So before I let you go, I want you to tell us where can people find you and like what do you have a website, a YouTube channel?
I'm still getting my website under construction. That'll take a little time,
Hmm.
but it'll have my name, Dylan Libby. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook. I have a small YouTube page coming up called Land Peers,
Okay.
just a little sub channel for me working on building my own interests. And besides that, my email is dylibby@hotmail.com. I still use Hotmail. I get made fun of it sometimes because it's old, but
Yeah.
yeah, for now, those are the places to find me. So thanks for having
Awesome.
me, Denise. It was a pleasure catching up.
Yeah.
It's been so long. I hope you're doing well. I love the podcast you're doing,
Thank
and I
you.
hope
Thank you
it's
so much. Yeah. We
yeah.
wish you the best. I know you're going to do amazing things, whether you go back to Marvel or theater or whatever it is. So,
And you too.
yeah.
I'm very excited to see what you continue to do as well,
Yeah.
Denise.
Thank you. Bye, Dylan.
Okay, how cool was that? Like, you guys should have seen him. This guy, Dylan, he's already very tall. And you put those stilts and with the Groot costume, and he was just running across the forum and being a true superhero. And all he had to share was so amazing. So thank you again, Dylan, for coming to the Actor's Vow. This was an amazing conversation. So next week, we don't have a guest. It's gonna be me, lonely again in this podcast. Well, not lonely because I have you guys. And the next one will actually have another incredible guest. We're actually making a switch and we're going to bring someone from the film industry for those of you who are thinking about doing TV or film. Or even if you are just interested because you're doing theater and you don't know that much about the film industry, it's always great to know all the options that are out there. So I will reveal that person later on next week. And before we end the episode today, I want to bring in the play of the week. This week, I wanted to bring one of my favorite plays ever. And it's kind of a classic, but actually, not that many people know it. And that's Summer and Smoke by Tennessee Williams. I know Tennessee Williams, right? Everybody knows him, but I guess this is not the play that you read the most, especially like in schools. But this is a play that actually Maggie Lally, one of my teachers and mentors and one of my favorite directors I've worked with, she recommended it to me because it has a really beautiful and powerful female character in it that actually is one of my dream roles. So if you're a female, also if you're a male, you should read this play because it has amazing monologues for both genders.
And it has also amazing scenes for scene study. It's such a well-written play. I mean, it's Tennessee Williams. What else can you ask for? So if you haven't read Summer and Smoke, I really, really recommend it. My favorite, Tennessee Williams. So this will be all for this week. Thank you so much for another week. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe on iTunes and leave a review. That is so helpful for the podcast, so we can keep sharing this with other people, and other actors can find the Actors Vow, and we can help each other and grow together and learn together, and this will be so much fun. So thank you again for your support. That means the world. If you guys want to submit for Sunday Spotlight, submissions are open and you have the chance to be mentioned in the podcast, and you have the chance to be interviewed for a Sunday Spotlight. The submissions are on the link in bio for the Actors Vow on Instagram. And if you don't follow the Actors Vow on Instagram, do so also Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. And I'll see you next Wednesday.